Ever wondered what liability car insurance really is? Well, you're about to find out. In the simplest of terms, liability car insurance is a type of coverage that helps cover the costs if you're held responsible for a car accident. It's a safety net that protects you from hefty out-of-pocket expenses. Now, why is it important, you ask? Imagine causing a minor fender bender or, heaven forbid, a major accident. The costs could be astronomical, potentially leading to financial ruin. That's where liability car insurance steps in, covering the expenses and giving you peace of mind. In this video, we're going to explore the ins and outs of liability car insurance. We'll talk about coverage, minimum requirements, and how it compares to full coverage. We'll also delve into the costs, how it works for first-time drivers, and how to add it to an existing policy. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the world of liability car insurance. So what exactly does liability car insurance cover, you might ask? Well, let's delve right in. At its core, liability auto insurance is designed to cover two primary areas: bodily injury and property damage. Bodily injury liability springs into action if you're at fault in an accident that injures another person. It can help cover their medical expenses, loss of income, and even legal fees if they decide to sue. And it's not just restricted to drivers. It can cover pedestrians, cyclists, and anyone else involved. On the other hand, we have property damage liability. This comes into play when you damage another person's property in an accident. This can range from their vehicle to fences, buildings, or even lampposts. In essence, liability insurance is a safeguard, a protective shield. It's there to cover the costs of damages you might cause to others in an unfortunate event of an accident. Remember, liability insurance is there to protect others on the road from you. Did you know there are minimum requirements for liability auto insurance? It's not just about getting the cheapest policy out there. There's a baseline that needs to be met to ensure you're properly covered. Each state has its own set of laws and regulations when it comes to these minimums. In most states, you'll find three basic types of coverage required: bodily injury liability for one person, bodily injury liability for all people involved, and property damage liability. The first covers the medical expenses of a single person injured in an accident you cause. The second extends this coverage to every person hurt in the accident. The last one, property damage liability, ensures that you can pay for any damage you inflict on someone else's property, typically their car. While these are the basic requirements, some states may also require additional types of coverage like uninsured motorist coverage or personal injury protection. Always check your state's minimum requirements to ensure you're adequately covered. You might be wondering, how much does liability car insurance cost? Well, there isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. The cost of liability car insurance varies greatly depending on several factors. Your age, driving history, and the type of vehicle you drive can all influence the price of your policy. For instance, younger drivers typically pay more because they're considered higher risk. Similarly, if you've got a lead foot and a history of speeding tickets, your premiums will likely be higher than someone with a clean driving record. Geography also plays a role. If you live in a bustling city with high traffic and accident rates, expect to pay more than someone living in a quiet rural area. And while it may be tempting to opt for the minimum coverage to save money, remember that higher limits can offer better financial protection in the event of an accident. There are ways to potentially reduce these costs. Safe driving, bundling policies, and regularly reviewing your coverage can all help. Keep in mind, the cost of not having liability coverage can be much higher. Already have an auto policy and thinking about adding liability coverage? Well, it's a prudent move that can offer you an extra layer of protection. Here's a simple way to do it. First, get in touch with your current insurance provider. They'll guide you through the process, which typically involves a quick review of your existing policy and a discussion of your coverage needs. The benefits of adding liability coverage are numerous. It can cover the costs if you're legally responsible for an accident that causes injury or property damage. This means you won't have to shoulder these potentially hefty expenses out of pocket. Remember, while your state may have minimum liability requirements, these might not be sufficient to cover all costs associated with an accident. By boosting your liability coverage, you're fortifying your financial safety net. So consider this valuable addition to your auto policy. Adding liability coverage to your existing policy can give you greater peace of mind. So how does liability car insurance work in real-life situations? Well, let's imagine you're involved in a car accident that you're at fault for. Your liability car insurance steps in to cover the cost, but in what way? Firstly, a claim must be filed. This usually involves contacting your insurance provider, providing details of the incident, and submitting any necessary documentation. Your insurance company will then review the claim, assessing the situation and the damages involved. If the claim is accepted, your liability insurance will cover the costs up to your policy's limit. This could include medical expenses for any bodily injuries caused to others and repair costs for property damages. It's important to note that your liability insurance won't cover your own injuries or damages to your own vehicle. That's where other types of insurance, such as collision or comprehensive coverage, come into play. Remember, liability car insurance is there to protect you financially. It's a safety net, cushioning the impact of potential accidents. We've covered a lot about liability car insurance. Let's recap. We've delved into the nitty-gritty of liability car insurance coverage, understanding its significance in protecting you from financial pitfalls related to accidents. We've explored the minimum requirements for liability auto insurance, shedding light on the least amount of coverage you need to stay legally compliant. We've also touched on the cost of liability car insurance, emphasizing its affordability compared to the potential costs of an accident. We've discussed how you can add liability coverage to your existing auto policy, ensuring you're well protected on the road. Lastly, we demystified how liability car insurance works, giving you a clearer picture of how this crucial coverage can save your day. That's all for today. Drive safe, and remember, liability car insurance is not just a legal requirement, it's a financial safeguard.